everyone, and welcome back to Liz Sews. Today I have a video about the plans for my October Disney project. Now I've noticed many of you in the comments section saying I should start looking into some Disney villains for next year, but I thought it was really appropriate to pull out Maleficent to do in the month of October. I don't necessarily get too involved with Halloween or hand out candy or dress up in costumes or anything like that, but I just thought it would be like a fun little switch on a theme to go ahead and do Maleficent for October. I've been really excited for this project, even though I've been kind of wary of how I was going to tackle it. When I did all of my sketches back in January, this was the one that Tony said he was most excited for as well. So I'm hoping that I can do it justice. So without further ado, sit back and relax while I put together my plans for Maleficent. Okay, so here is the sketch, and I'm really excited for it. I don't know how close I'm going to be able to get to this sketch, but at least I want to try. So the main portion of this set is of course going to be this over-bust corset with the exaggerated sort of petaled bust sections, and then I'm thinking about also doing an exaggerated hip, though that might be something that I get rid of down the road if it becomes too tricky or challenging to overcome. So my initial inclination for this back in January was to use the Sylvia pattern from Arania Black, and I still might go ahead and use that and modify it. But since then, she's released a couple more patterns that I'm really intrigued by, so I might sort of switch that up. I don't really know. There is no pattern currently available that looks exactly like this, so no matter what I choose, I am going to have to do some modifications to the pattern to get this sort of bust point. The things that I really want to make sure that I keep, I want to keep the color palette, though I might not have the style lines exactly as drawn. So I really like the idea of having the bust sort of just come to that under bust level and then the rest of it be tied up. I think that makes a really sexy, interesting, intriguing look. So I want to make sure to keep that. And I want to at least do the bust points, but maybe not the exaggerated hip. We'll see. I still think that in most of her patterns, I'm able to get a really good shape. So even if I don't do the exaggerated hip, I should still get that same sort of like silhouette. And so I think that's gonna work. So let's take a look at the fabrics because I'm really excited for the fabrics on this one. So first up, looking at busks, I purchased 2 different busks because I wasn't exactly sure which size I needed. I did some quick measurements and I decided that I needed this smaller one because with the lacing ending at the underbust section, and then there's sort of like a notch coming up in the bottom of the corset itself, I thought I needed a really, really short one, but I wasn't entirely sure. So I second guessed myself and bought one that was a little bit longer as well, so that I have some options in here. But of course I got the powder coated black ones because I think that's going to look the sleekest in the corset design. The main structure of the corset is going to be couture. I did purchase this black one online and I can link it down in the description box below. It is a really, really nice heavyweight couture. It almost feels sort of like papery, but absolutely no stretch at all. So I think this one will be divine to work with. I might do my mock-ups in a sort of cheaper couture just because I don't want to waste this one. I want to make sure I can save this for the actual corset itself. I do want to do a fashion fabric exterior on this. This will not be seen, but I do like the idea that it's going to be all matchy-matchy with the black on the inside. So I have a couple of materials that I want to put into these panels. The first one is just a black lingerie satin. So I do have a couple materials that I want to incorporate into this. The first is a black lingerie satin. This one was purchased from the Tailor Made shop. I'm not entirely certain she still has this one in stock, but I'll list her lingerie satin page down in the description box below. And in addition to that, I also have an aubergine one as well. Again, came from the Tailor Made shop, but I really like the combination of these two, and the satin just gives it such a nice luxurious feel. And really nice to work with in bra making, so I think it'll be fine to work with it in corsetry as well. So those are the 2 main fabrics that I have a decent amount of. I also have some black sort of like lambskin leather that I want to incorporate in as well. I really like that texture variation between that, so I'm thinking there's going to be a couple of different blacks, but that they'll each be different textures of like the leather and the satin and things like that, and that's going to give it some of that visual interest even though we got black on black. And I think that, to me, that just screams Maleficent. I really like that deep, rich purple, and I think it's going to pull out those different tonalities of black just perfectly. For the back of the corset, I did pick up some double-faced satin ribbon. These are not the best for corsetry lacing. They're not as strong, but they're relatively inexpensive, and I like that I can get them in a ton of different colors. This one came from Bias Bespoke. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I think this one's a little bit wider than what I had been using. I had been using some 3/8 of an inch. I think this one might be a 1/2 of an inch. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's about 1/2 of an inch wide, but still should be really nice and give that pretty detail on the back as well. I also purchased just some rat tail braid for the lacing up the front, but I don't have it in front of me right now. So those are the main fabrics for the corset. And then, since the corset is really the main event of the show, I didn't want to do too much crazy with the bottoms. They're just going to be a straight bottom that I typically make out of my block, but I did pick up some of this really luscious velvet in a nice deep purple color as well to pull that in on the bottom. So between the velvet and the leather and the satin, I think this is just going to be a really fantastic look, and I'm really excited to get it sewn up. So I hope everybody is excited for Maleficent as I am. If you're excited to see more of the design and construction process for this piece, be sure to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment down below. I'll see everyone next time. Take care.